Good. So as we're heading inside, let's allow breath to flow. We've got inhales and exhales. Allow yourself a chance to feel all the surface area of your body that's touching down. Oftentimes when our energy gets kind of frazzled, if you were to kind of imagine, if you had an aura, imagine that frazzled energy is kind of your energy scattering to all directions, not really knowing where to focus or where to travel into. And so instead, here, we're giving ourselves something to focus on. Focus on every part of your body that's touching down. So notice what parts of your feet or heels are touching down. What parts of your legs. What parts of your hips and your back. Arms and hands and shoulders. Even your head and neck, feeling those areas rest down. And this helps us to calm and to center our energy, to have a focus. So with that focus, let's allow the breath to begin to flow. Deep inhales and exhales. And think of a magnifying glass focusing light. Because of that focus in light, we're able to have heat. We're able to start a fire, to create a whole new spark for our life. So imagine that's how this focus of our energy can be for us this week. This week here at least has been a pretty cold week, and so that we can use that spark. We could use more of that fire energy in our body, in our system this week. So just imagine if you could focus your energy, all of your thoughts, all of your energy on something, what type of a change would you create in your life or a change for the world? Just let your imagination be limitless. You could think of anything. Just let that run wild. Let our thoughts and let our dreams start to play today. So that'll be that idea that leads us on, that spark that begins our change. And so with this to help us out, let's begin some of our initial stretches. Arms can go all the way to the back wall. Let's give the shoulders a chance to go right and left. A couple of times to each direction, nice and free, nice and open. Maybe one more good breath in and out. And right back through the center, let's hug our hands around right knee. A couple of nice ankle rolls. You choose when the moment is, but when you feel ready for it, this leg can begin to extend up to the sky. Feel that expansion, that stretching. This is kind of like our first chance to get into this hamstring. So don't feel like you're forcing it, but at the same time, try to find the angle at which the leg can straighten even more. Sometimes that does mean, okay, I'm less than 90 degrees at this moment. And that's okay, because that's what's helping us to move toward that deeper flexibility, that mobility. Another good breath in and out. Then pull that right leg so far back that when you cross it over to the left, you can hook the ankle, slide the shin in. And here we've got a nice pigeon pose. Feel yourself start to breathe back into the belly. It's hard to keep our focus on the breath when we've got such intense things going on sometimes in class, such intense sensations. But this is that perfect chance here to just feel the belly breath. Centered on that breath cycle. Take 2 more rounds. And start to free this leg all the way out. Drop it down. Second knee in. Giving it a few ankle rolls perhaps, or other movements that are helpful. Sometimes that's a good time to find some of those snap, crackle, and pop areas. When you feel ready, you're welcome to explore the first hamstring stretch on this left side. So again, perhaps you back away a little bit, but the leg is very straight. That's where we make sure to include all the muscle fibers of the hamstring. Inhale. Exhale, pull that leg back, swing it over, hooking the heel on back right. Slide the shin in. Enjoy 2 or 3 more breaths here. When you feel ready to free this leg out, maybe reach it back up to the sky before we drop it down. When we're there, we'll take a back bend. You can choose if legs are staying in the fabric or if you're taking the legs out the front. Either way, let's start to head over backwards. You also choose the depth here. Don't feel like you have to go too deep on this very first thing, but whatever degree feels good, take it. Maybe the arms are dropping down, maybe they're holding on. It's all up to you. This first chance to open up our heart. It's up to you how long you stay. The moment when you feel ready to come up, you'll leave the legs inside, bring them back in if you kicked them out, and just take a double straight leg stretch forward. You're absolutely welcome to purposely bend the knees. Sometimes if I do that, I'll slide my hands under my thighs to create a hug. And then from that hug, I'm gluing my torso down onto my thighs so that when I go forward, I'm including the low back in the stretch. So sometimes that's the quality that I need, making sure that part is glued down rather than legs kind of trying to stretch away from me. This helps get into some of those muscle groups that aren't always included. Two or three more breaths. This helps us to make sure our mind is centered and focused. Everything's feeling good. As we start to rise up, we can begin to kick legs forward off the front. We'll work our way inside so we can take a couple of our initial splits type stretches inside. So once we're sitting up here, let's bunch up the fabric to the side that faces you most easily toward me. And then you'll lock the arm straight. The hip that just got lifted, swing that leg up and over. Then from this straddling position, take each heel inside of the end of the fabric so that when you stretch the legs out, you're in a wide figure V shape. For where we're headed, we do want to be centered in the fabric. So if you're noticing a lot more fabric on one side than the other, a little trick you can do is get the feet to be even. And then you grip up high to the fabric that's in front of you. You lift up enough that your hips are off of the fabric, and then you straighten each leg out, and that'll get you more into the center. So once you've done your little journey, your little adjusting to be pretty centered, let the legs spread out wide, arms muscularly helping. Gotta keep the core lifting tall. Let's slide the right hand down the right leg, left hand reaches up and over. And rising up, switch sides, sliding left hand down left leg, right arm up and over. Good, rising up. Now, at this point, if the toes are poking out at all, bring the toes inside the fabric. And then we're gonna do our preparation to come up to stand. So start to slide the heels in close to the glutes, pop the knees out of the fabric. That'll help us out if we're coming up to stand. So from the knees popping out, grip onto the fabric in front of you, reaching high. Then we come to a low squat. So we're sliding the feet underneath us. The knees are completely popped out. Good. Once we've come to the low squat, you just have to reach up high. Make sure you're not standing up backwards. So you're not trying to catch your head, but instead you're just standing directly up. Good. So from here, we're gonna make our way toward the front of the room. So whichever way points you forward, that shoulder that was forward is going to need to come behind the fabric so that you can grip on. And from here, let's take just an easy split for a couple of breaths. Feel how the front leg feels as it's stretching forward, back leg back. If, when you get into that, you want more, you're not really in the stretch, then squeeze your inner thighs back together. You're gonna grip the forward grip instead. So elbows point forward and it's a thumbs down over our shoulders. And once you're there, you could go quite a bit deeper. You choose the perfect amount. We're gonna take about 5 breaths in this one. When you reach the point that you're ready to drop down, come to kneel on the back knee. From this spot, you can just slide the hands toward that front foot. That'll be an easy half split. Or if you want a little more than that, slide your hands up and then take just slightly deeper than a half split. So the hips travel forward just a hair. Notice if the front knee wants to bend, that's the tendency of my legs. My hamstrings like to kind of protect themselves by bending a little bit. So the goal is not to lock, but to aim toward straight without the kneecap doing that last little lock piece. So that requires a little bit of activation of the quadricep muscles. So maybe engage quad, take 2 more breaths. For that second breath, we'll head toward pigeon. So swivel that front knee out to the side. You can scoot the hips forward. Maybe the shoulder that's closer to the toes frees its way out as you lean forward. Just enjoy the contrast here. Being in hips is so different than being in the hamstrings. For me, my hips are super just, they could do anything I wanted them to do and they'd be just fine. Hamstrings for me are always the struggle. So it's a very different kind of awareness, each version. All right, so take one more breath in and out. The hip that's connected to your front leg, that's what we're going to rock back and sit onto. Once you're sitting there, torso is back inside, swivel your knees open to that wide figure V shape again. Hands can press wide, good stretching. So before we switch sides, this time, instead of doing the lateral lean up and over, you're going to take your right hand into the left side. So now right hand is trying to reach toward left toes, and then just lean toward that side. Notice how bent or straight the knee wants to be. Be conscious about it. It's your choice exactly where you're going, but have awareness of where you're going and why. This is the one that feels best. This is the one that seems to not hurt. Those kinds of things are helpful. Good, so rising up, we'll switch sides. So opposite arm toward opposite toes, and then just lean. Another good breath in and out, rising back up. Make sure feet are still covered. We're in that good spot with them. Once we're there, heels slide in close to the glutes, the knees pop free. Gripping up high, we come to the low squat first, toes are underneath us. Once we're there, reach up high, come all the way up to stand. And then we're gonna face the opposite wall. Facing backwards, the shoulder that was to that wall needs to swivel behind. This is the easy version. With the grip around, it makes it so we can't go super deep. So take a couple of breaths, one leg forward, one leg back. Just feel what's opening up. Sometimes this is the best thing you can do for yourself on this side. If you want more, squeeze in our thighs together, we're standing. We'll readjust the grip to be the thumbs down grip over the shoulder. And then you're welcome to travel deeper. Got about 5 good breaths, so keep it flowing in and out. When you reach that point you'd like to drop down, you can lower onto the back knee. You can either slide the hands down for the half split or slide the hands up if you want to go just a little bit deeper than that. You choose the perfect amount. Nice inhale. Exhale, rise up enough that you can swivel the knee out to the side. Take the pigeon to this back wall. a good breath in, out. Rock onto your hip. Swivel the legs open. 2 or 3 breaths, wide figure V. And then kicking the legs off of each side. We're gonna come into a deeper kind of taco fold for ourselves. So pick one hand, press the hand into the fabric in front of your face. That'll create a space for your feet. That's the center. So then the opposite foot is that hand. Grab onto it and swivel it up so that it's in the placement of that hand. Once you've got one foot up, it's pretty easy to take the second foot next to the first. And then you get to play with it. Straighter legs is deeper, bent knees is easier. Pushing into the fabric is easier. Trying to relax away from the fabric is deeper. It's folding you inward quite a bit more. So just choose that perfect arrangement. Give yourself a couple of good breaths. What I personally like to do is just kind of scan through my whole system. What muscle groups do I have trying to resist? Is it a safe kind of resist, like I shouldn't go deeper? And if that's not the case, perhaps I try to relax that area. And then I scan through my system again. What do I have that's holding on, that's resisting, that's holding back? And I see, can I relax that? Just keep that going with these deep, even breaths. Perhaps this is a good, almost meditative spot to just consider, how do I focus my energy? Is it useful? Is it helpful? What would I prefer to focus my energy on? Another deep breath in, out. Let's start to free our legs forward. We'll take a nice inversion here. You've got 2 options. You could either stay inside and do the diaper wrap, so swinging the legs wide, wrapping around, or you could do the version out of the fabric, same exact thing, straddle back. So if you know you prefer straddle back, you're welcome to head out and take that one instead. Whichever you like. Kind of our first real inversion of the day, so feel free to take as much time as you want here. I won't rush you out. If you're still upside down, take your last few breaths just enjoying this, and then you're welcome to start heading out. We'll make sure our head has plenty of time to recover here. Maybe we're just leaning back. Maybe we've got the hands behind the head and we're bending the right knee, swaying to the right. Bending the left knee, swaying to the left. Just taking that easeful journey back and forth. You still need time to recover because you just came out. Let me know by just staying here for a bit longer. When you reach that point that you know within your own body it's safe to come out, feel free to start walking backwards. We're going to come actually to the top of the mat. You'll face your back to me and you're facing your fabric. Your right leg is going to go inside the fabric. So first things first, let's try to allow the leg to straighten. From there, let's start to slide our hands down the fabric and play with how the rest of your body responds. Some people go into this by kind of rounding the spine and forcing the head down. Instead, I usually like to play with straightening the spine and then kind of melting my heart down toward that thigh. So I love how that gets into my hamstring, including some of those deeper muscle groups, because the low back is there, the glute is there, the hip is there, they're all stretching out. So now this is a fun place to play. We're going to be a bit longer here. You can either continue to play exactly like this, or you have a little balance challenge you could choose to take. Both hands. You would have to have balance first. So if balance is wobbly, don't feel like you need to. But you bring your weight over your standing leg and then both hands grab onto the foot. If you get that far safely, you could try to play with lifting the leg away from the fabric, even just for brief periods, and then setting it back down into the stretch. You don't have to do it. You could have one hand on the fabric. There's lots of ways to play. The idea is making sure whether you're playing with balance or not, you definitely have that hamstring stretch where you're just a bit longer. Good. Good. Take one more breath in and out. And then from here, sliding the spine up, slide the hands up, a brief splits all the way forward, just a couple of breaths. Bring your hips back over your standing leg, bend the front knee, and then head back forward, pigeon. Good. Coming back, straighten the leg again. We're going to catch this ankle as we turn all the way to face forward. So you'll have to kind of start to safely hike the hip up, rotate the knee all the way down. And then once the knee has popped down, then I'll hop back to make sure that I'm right beneath plumb line again. So quad stretch when we're here, just an easy grip over each shoulder. And just leaning backwards should get you into the quad stretch. That right knee pointing down, and leaning backwards, using the fabric to kind of help us keep that balance. Good. Coming up, We'll do a few lunges here. So if you need grip, you're gonna grip from the low back area. That'll be what can help you balance. If you're okay without, we're gonna do lunges. So you start with hands at the heart, and then as the arms spread wide, you bend the front leg, kick the leg and the fabric back, and then sweep everything back up together. Good. So if that's okay, we're taking another 7 and up. 6, exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, and then splits by dropping hands to floor. The leg and the fabric go straight. We're trying to straighten the standing leg also, and we walk our hands backwards, sinking directly into splits. More breath in, out. To come out, we'll walk the hands really far forward, maybe even off the mat. Then just kind of shake your foot free of the fabric. Once your foot can step down on the ground, come into a forward fold, your weight over your legs. Just 2 or 3 breaths to hang. Rising when you're ready. You can go slow, you can swing the arms up, whatever's working here. Good, we should be in front of the fabric, so just turn around and then hook your left ankle in. So first it's that placement where we just start to melt the heart down. Play with the low back. See if when you lean forward, if there's a particular spot where you notice it's starting to turn to a rounded shape. Just play with it. This is bringing awareness. What is going on in my system? How can I help it? You could always just pause at that spot where it's still straight. You have my permission, you can go lower if it feels helpful. And then bring awareness of the leg. Is it straightening? Is it wanting to bend? You could play with one or both hands around the foot, trying to play with that balance. More breath in and out. Good. Rising up. Slide the hands up. Let's take that deeper splits all the way forward. One more breath in and out. Weight comes back, bend the knee. We're going to send our way forward through the pigeon. Good. Coming back, straighten the leg again. You're gonna kind of hike the hip up, swivel the knee all the way to point down. This is facing us forward. A little hop back brings us back to balance. Keeping that left knee pointed down, start to lean your weight backwards. Nice quad stretch. Good. Coming up, we're going to do those lunges. So find your balance. Maybe the grip goes lower behind your back, or maybe hands to heart. When you're ready, we'll kick back, going for 8 and return. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. And then when you're ready, drop hands to the floor. Straighten the legs. Let's walk our way backwards into the stretch. Start to walk your hands forward until you can free the foot out of the fabric. And then feet are together. Walk back until your weight is over your legs. A couple of breaths to dangle. And rising all the way up. Good. Let's come back behind the fabric. And we'll have a little bit of time to do a nice hip hang here. So some of the split stretching happens from that psoas. That's why when we did that pigeon and went back, that stretch right across the front was part of what we felt. So getting into this hip hang will help us to massage that area. So fabric right across the bones, a couple of steps forward to bend at the waist, drop hands down, and then that's several steps back to bring us back under plumb line. You could always do it down dog, or lifting up the toes, hug around the shins. We've got just a little bit more I'd like to do, so we'll give it another 3 or 4 breaths just to relax here, and then we'll begin to make our way out. Whenever you ease your way up and out, take some time for your recovery. Ensuring the head still feels great. Again, you'll let me know you're okay by coming up to stand when you're ready. Good. So we're gonna do a moment here of like back-to-back hamstring stretches. In between, we'll do the swinging switch. If you're not comfortable with the swinging switch, that's okay. Just each time step this foot out, step the other foot in. So we'll start off with right leg inside. This one here, we're gonna do the Golgi tendon reflex. So we're pushing the heel down into the fabric. That activates the hamstring. There's some contraction there. So we're gonna do it for a count of 10. Start to push down now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax, the hamstrings loose. Take a moment to splits forward. Also nice for that psoas massage we just got. We're feeling that again on that side. Good, come back. Swinging switch or step one foot out, the other foot in. Okay, when you're at the second ankle, push down, count of 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Splits forward, just a couple of breaths. And heading back, swinging switch. With this one, find your spine upright and then sliding your hands down. You're welcome to like pick up the fabric close to the ankle, but then what we're going to do is kind of pick the leg up. We're turning our spine back to what it felt like being upright. So this is a balance thing, so if you need to just drop it, that'll be how you find balance again. Good. That's okay, good catch, good catch. Just drop and grab. Yeah. Good. It's a good challenge. Good. The next time you drop, go ahead and take a swinging switch. Take a moment to feel what upright feels like. Then when you slide down to grab, your spine is returning to that upright. You can grab higher too, and then just bend the elbows instead. That would be fine. This gives us a sensation of that leg lifting while the spine is up. This builds up muscle memory. Good. Drop it down, swinging switch. This time when we're in, we're going to slow motion, take the leg all the way back behind us. Try to keep it as straight as you can. If you need to bend, that's okay. But first it's forward, take a little splits forward. Good, come back. Rotate the leg to the side. You might need to hop forward. When it's at the side, do a little splits to the side. Good, return. Grip just on this closer one. As you start to rotate behind, maybe you keep it straight the whole time, or maybe you need to bend the knee to keep it safe. We can readjust the grip to grab onto both, and then a little splits back. Good, weight over your leg, return to the side. Grip on the bottom one, splits to the side. Good, return forward, slip it down to ankle if it rows, and a little splits. Good, swinging switch. Splits forward. Back, hopping forward, rotate to the side, and a little splits. Good. Maybe keeping it straight as you rotate all the way back, maybe not. Little splits backwards. It's okay to be bent, that's fine. Straighter is a lot deeper of a bend for the back. Good, rotate to the side, splits. And when you go forward, one more. Good work. Now we can take the leg all the way out. Come up to the top. We're gonna free out the fabric, waving it left and right. When you head inside, grab extra fabric to prepare for a last little vampire. So that'll make it so there's less shifting down because we should already be pretty much at the back of the fabric. So what I'm going to do is guide us through one last little stretch for each side through the vampire. So that splits variation. But that being said, if you prefer just normal vampire or you want to do 1 or 2 last stretches on your own, that's okay. If you're doing it with me, bring your right foot inside the fabric, left foot is free. Gripping up high, feet come up, press out to rise upside down. Closed foot goes down first, right foot, and then left foot all the way to the ground. A little splits back. More breath in and out. And then from here, step your left foot into the pocket, right foot to floor. Same splits for a moment. Good. As we start to head out, if you want to play with vampire a bit longer, that's fine. If anybody's ready for Shavasana, this is a good time for it, or any variations. I'll kind of leave it up to you. This will be Shavasana / free time for the next few minutes, giving our body really good gifts, whatever that looks like. Here we begin to deepen our inhales and our exhales. We take the next minute or so to slowly make our way out of this shape. Eventually, in about a minute or so, we'll end up sitting facing forward. But if you'd like to do little wiggles through the shoulders, through the legs, any movements at all that help us to kind of bring the spine, bring the body back to this present moment. Let these things continue to flow. Maybe it's just the breath that we're working with for a moment. Whenever we make our way back to forward, we can join hands in front of the heart. And think of this joining together of the hands as that kind of focus, like the magnifying glass, magnifying that light, focusing it all together to create the spark. So imagine, what is it that is that focus for you? Sometimes it's attending yoga classes that helps our mind stay much more centered. Sometimes it's a home meditation practice. It's self-care. It can look like many things, but what is that magnifying glass that helps you to get that perfect focus for your energy, so that as we go through our day, we don't get all the frazzled static. We can feel much more grounded, centered, and powerful in that focus to create the sparks we need. So with that idea to lead us on to this marvelous next few days, so let's wrap up the time we got to share together with the sound of Om. Deep inhale now. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.